Welcome to a special episode of the podcast of the Prison Officers Association, the UK's largest professional union for prison, correctional and secure psychiatric workers with over 30,000 members. For many years, the union has been calling for a royal commission into the criminal justice system, and earlier this year the union's executive committee agreed to hold a parliamentary briefing event to boost the campaign. Alongside senior officers and NEC members, 25 local reps put the case to parliamentarians from all parties. Here are General Secretary Steve Gillen and Deputy General Secretary Joe Simpson to tell us more. So with me is General Secretary Steve Gillen and Deputy General Secretary Joe Simpson, and we're here to talk about the ongoing campaign by the POA for a royal commission into the criminal justice system. And we're recording this the day after a very successful reception/lobbying exercise at the Houses of Parliament. Steve, perhaps you could set the scene for us in terms of what the union's campaign is, how long it's been running, and particularly why yesterday was so important.
Well, we decided a National Executive Committee way back in roughly about April that we would do a parliamentary briefing and hold a parliamentary reception. So all that was arranged, and we produced a parliamentary briefing for all members of Parliament and the House of Lords, and of course our delegates. And the reason that we had a cross-section of delegates there that came to Parliament was so that MPs could hear specifically from them, because I think it's vitally important that politicians know what I'm going to say, they know what Joe's going to say, they know what Mark Fairhurst is going to say, but we wanted to let our delegates from across the prison spectrum, so we had high security estate there, we had local Cat Bs, we had the open estate, we had YCF, juveniles, female estate, representatives from there, so there was a real broad spectrum. And myself and Joe had discussed this at length about the Royal Commission, because it was in the Tory Party manifesto to hold one, and they never have, and they blamed COVID for that. And the reason that we went on a two-pronged approach at this minute in time is because we know that there's probably going to be a general election next year. And it was vital that we got noticed, we got our message across about the pension age. 68 is too late, because as I told the MPs who were there, this isn't going away. We will continue to campaign until we get pension justice. So the sooner that our government looks at it and negotiates with us properly on that sole issue, then we're not going to go away and we'll continue to campaign. But really and truly, the other issues about the Royal Commission and looking at everything, not just about prisons, but the whole criminal justice system, so that we can pull our allies into it as well, such as the Police Federation, Community Union, GMB, NAPO, everybody else that's got an interest in the criminal justice system, because it's broken. The criminal justice system in this country is totally broken, and we think every time a general election comes round, it's about who can be toughest on crime. That's not the answer. We need a root and branch review with experts in the field, including trade union input, into this very important issue, because if we don't, I'm afraid the criminal justice system is just going to get worse and worse. So it was important to launch that yesterday. And I've got to say, the feedback that I've had from delegates and members of Parliament has been very, very good. I can't speak highly enough of my members that attended last night. They've done us proud.
And Joe, is the cross-party appeal of the union's campaign a key ingredient? It's almost, it takes the politics out of it. No matter what the outcome of the general election, whoever forms the next government, this will be a no-brainer. It's something they have to do.
Yeah, exactly. As Steve has said, over the years, they've been tinkering around at the edges of the criminal justice system, and in particular the prison system. And as Steve has said, every time you go and see whichever party's in power, whichever party's trying to get in power, They're always going to be tough on crime. And some of the policies and legislation that they pass is not always good for the prison service. And it's something that the union has never done. We have never, ever got involved in sentencing policy within the trade union and within the criminal justice system. However, we did have a voice on the IPP prisoners for the simple reason this was a policy that was brought in and we've been left holding the baby in so much as we have to deal with the prisoners. So the Royal Commission was for what is the function of the criminal justice system? What is the function of probation? What is the function of the prison service? What is the function of the police, the courts, barristers, magistrates, judges? Because there is no joined up thinking right away from it. And we were promised by the Tories, not that you could always listen to their promises, back in 2010, that we would have a joined up service where a prisoner or somebody who would fallen foul of the law would be able to map their progress through the criminal justice system. So if they came in, they were sentenced, whether it was non-custodial or custodial, then that would be mapped out. They would be able to see it. And we, as employees and as prison officers, probation officers, would know our role in that. Well, nobody does know their role in it now. And unfortunately, we're seeing a prison population that's going up, and nobody seems to have the solution. And, you know, they keep talking about rehabilitation. Rehabilitation doesn't come cheap. You know, you've got to put money into it in order for to make rehabilitation something of the revolution that they wanted. But it won't happen overnight. You're talking about anywhere between, I would say, 10 and 20 years before we even break that cycle of reoffending. It's going to take that long.
Rehabilitation may be expensive, but not doing rehabilitation costs even more.
Yeah.
Steve, are you encouraged by the feedback you've had from across the political spectrum, both at last night's event and previously, that the union is making headway towards achieving its goal of a Royal Commission?
I'm confident that if we keep pushing and campaigning, that there will eventually be a Royal Commission. I'm even more confident, actually, because across the sort of political spectrum, there is sympathy for us. I think we've won the argument on 68 is too late and the violence that goes along with it. So in September, the National Executive Committee have agreed that we will then focus on a campaign on violence, which will run in tandem with the 68 is too late and the call for a Royal Commission. I mean, there were some great speakers last night, you know, including John McDonnell MP, who made it absolutely crystal clear to our delegates that it was in the Labour manifesto in 2016 to restore the right to strike for prison officers. And we've got to make sure that in the new deal for Labour, that it doesn't fall off the cliff edge and that it's got to be there. And so we'll continue on the run-up to the general election, because I think that is paramount as well. It's an integral part and a fundamental basic right to get our trade union rights back so that we can push the issue of pension and other things within the criminal justice system. But yeah, I am confident that cross-party members that turned up fully understand the difficulties within the criminal justice system and indeed our prisons. So I'm pretty confident, and I'm even more confident now, that the delegates that were there at that reception will take it back to their branches and get their members actively involved to speak to their MPs and the surgeries and different things, write to them, and keep that pressure on, because the National Executive Committee can't do it by themselves. It's got to be a concerted campaign effectively by every POA member in the UK.
And Joe, if members are listening to this and they're thinking, yeah, that's right, I want to get involved in that, I want to support my union and myself in terms of the campaign for a Royal Commission, what support and guidance is available from the union nationally to help them make that in the most effective way?
We produced the 16-page document that went along with the parliamentary reception last night. That was to launch it. So everything that we want is actually in there, where we've got different people who've contributed to it, right across the spectrum for us. So people will be able to get that. They will also then be able to contact the NEC, or they can actually contact the office and ask how they go about it. And we'll assist them as much as we can, because it's absolutely vital that we get our members involved in their local politics, in their local TUC, and their local trades councils, especially the trades councils, because the trades councils are the real, I would say, embodiment of our movement, where everybody gets together and in not a formal setting, but they'll be able to help as well. But we need them to start talking to their MPs, their constituent MPs, the MPs where they live, actually get the MP to come into prison. We've got the parliamentary scheme, which seems to have fallen away a little bit, where actual MPs could come in to prison and come along and do a couple of shifts with our members, where they would actually walk around the land and see the work that our members are doing and see exactly for themselves what it's like to live and work in our prisons today.
Thanks for listening. You can find out more by visiting the union's website at poauk.org.uk.